Good afternoon and welcome to Profits Through Private Label Product Design. I'm Deb Barrett and with me is my partner in design crime, Jackie. Hi Jackie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. All right, let's just dive right in because we've got a lot to cover in 10 minutes. So let's go. So Jackie, tell us about what we're doing and how we're trying to build help other designers build signature product lines.
Okay, and first, did you want to check your sound?
Everybody hear
me? Are
we
good?
Are we good? I think we are. Let's go.
Okay, we will experience technical difficulty. Okay, so this is a product, or I mean a category that we are really excited about. We see it as sort of a forefront to coming business models for interior designers and small retailers, and it's called private product or signature products. And typically in the larger retail market space, what signature product means is that you as a designer design a product line at the request of a full-service manufacturer, and that product is marketed by the manufacturer, sold by the manufacturer, and your name appears second to the manufacturer's brand on all merchandise and all sort of promotional stuff. The manufacturers usually will pay you a percentage of each item sold, and that is obviously a pre-negotiated set amount. And so it's the manufacturer's product, but you as the designer are producing it in a capsule collection. So we're very familiar with those, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
for most of us,
isn't that typically what a lot of designers are doing? You know, the so-called celebrity designer.
Well, many of them are doing that, but you know, it's a tiny percentage compared to the amount of designers that are out there with the skill to achieve that. And so most of us will never have that opportunity. But what we have really been working on the last 4 years, 5 years for me, is trying to bring that into a more sort of localized capsule for the individual designer. And because of technology and new services that have arisen, it's really possible for all of us to do that now on our own. So what we want to talk about is, what does private label product mean? And materials are products that are produced at your discretion by a full-scale manufacturer, a local artisan, or actually by yourself, that bear your business name as the lead. So there is no manufacturer listing. It's the manufacturer, if it is someone other than you, is considered to be a blind label manufacturer, so they do not show.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about why we think private labeling is an important part of a savvy designer's arsenal now. When you have a label that has your name on it, it allows you to create a brand that best reaches your defined target market. You know your clients better than anybody else. You know the type of product they're looking for. Where you live comes into play, if you're coastal, if you're mountain, if you're West Coast, East Coast, seasonal products that your clients want. So you know them better than anybody else. So you are able to create highly defined product that really reaches out to that market better than anybody else can.
And you also know where the voids are in the marketplace.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, what's missing in your area.
Right.
Okay. Private label products increase your shopper loyalty. They cause your clients to bring you more repeat business, and they lead to tons of referrals, not just in product, but other design opportunities. So it's a great way to really sort of cement yourself in your niche, in your area. Deb, just chime in if you have anything else to throw in.
And like you said, and like the slide is talking about, it's also about positioning. this doesn't have to be your major focus in your business, but what it does do is it elevates that brand. It says that you truly are a creative, a design creative, if you're putting together private label collections. I love, as a merchant, I love the part about the fact that nobody can shop it because it's yours. When you develop a private label collection, you know, you've picked the colorways, you've done the designs, you've pulled this all together with a theme in some cases, and nobody can find it or shop it. So
exactly.
I think that's, yeah.
And that's a key point we're going to talk about further in, too, which is something we're all dealing with now. Wait, go back. Right. We're not done with that slide.
Okay. Okay.
Deb is armed and dangerous with the with the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so it also attracts trendsetters and curious shoppers who want something different, unique, and exclusive, who may not have sought you out in the first place. So it gives you a vehicle to sort of expand your reach into a broader audience. Mm-hmm. Also, having a product that reflects your overall brand identity differentiates your business from the competition and helps you define your signature style as a designer. So in a small capsule of product, you really are able to kind of communicate what you're all about. And that is what, you know, really sort of lead designers that have signature lines are able to do by highly curating their collections, being very focused on selecting what they're offering. And it's almost like a little, you know, photograph or snapshot into their design aesthetic. Mm-hmm. By Perfect. Producing your own product, you go back, Deb.
I'm sorry.
by producing your own product, you elevate your brand to an expert level that exceeds that of the average designer. Just by the fact that you have a vehicle like this, it really does take you up a notch and separates you not only from the average designer, but it solidifies in your client's mind that you have a set of skills that perhaps some other people don't. You have the ability to design and create a product and bring it to market and sell it with your name as the celebrity, for lack of a better word, brand. You're also able to curate, we kind of talked about this already, curate a selection of goods that has a narrow focus that you know will appeal to your customers. And like Deb said, the all-important, prevent them from shopping you. If you have something that is uniquely designed, they can't find it anywhere else. They can't price gouge you. Also, by providing highly focused collections of private label product that you have vetted for quality workmanship and materials and timely delivery, that's the key. You're going to work with manufacturers, artisans, local craftsmen that you know are going to be reliable, turn your product around on time, get it out to the customer reliably. You then can manage the expectations of not only price, availability, lead time, and fulfillment, but you do that with a higher degree of accuracy, okay? And that provides a better result for your client and a quicker and less tenuous outcome for your business and bottom line. And I know that's a wordy sentence. It's a very long sentence. But basically what that means is that you can cull a collection of items from your manufacturers, customize them as you see fit, put them into a signature collection, and you know how all of those things are going to be delivered. You talk to the manufacturer about it. You know that this is going to be the lead time. You know that the fabrics are in stock and ready and waiting. And so you can offer a quicker turnaround and better satisfaction for your client. Okay? And I think that is what clients are looking for today. You know, there's been a lot of conversation out there about the HGTV effect and delivering on a deadline, as our friend Denise McGahey is so good at doing. So this is one way that you can achieve that with certain products. Mm-hmm. The other really, really important thing about private labeling is that as designers, and this is one of the reasons that I went into product design, the minute I stopped working at the end of the day, the cash register stops ringing. So as soon as I put down, you know, my pen and walk away from the desk, I'm no longer making money. we don't have a lot of opportunities to create what's called residual income. And residual income is money that is being generated through services or products while you are not actively participating in them. So it's either sales or downloading things from your website, stuff like that. So it's working for you 24/7. So if you have a website or something where you're selling your private label goods, people can shop that 24/7, and you wake up in the morning to a slew of new orders. And it is a great feeling, you know, to have that happen and to know that now you have a vehicle to generate that kind of income. And it's very important for us, for cash flow and for longevity in our businesses, to be able to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think that?
And then, as you said at the end, it's all about, you know, we've got all these different skill sets. Let's apply them.
And the amazing thing is what new skills that you learn through this process. I can't tell you, you know, how many new things I learned that I now apply to my regular business. So do you want to talk about this one, Deb?
Sure. So curated private label, I love this concept. Are items that you select from your current roster of suppliers. So for me, it's in window coverings. I'm looking at high-end, ready-made curtain manufacturers, for example, or maybe blind and shade, Roman shade people. And then I customize what I want in choice, you know, whether it's color, stylings, or, you know, details, etc. And that within the way that the manufacturer does fabricate those, and I basically create a collection. The copyright, if there is one, is typically the manufacturer owns it, and there are some ways that you're restricted, but it is a great, you know, I'm a firm believer that the interior design business is moving into the editing and the curating business, so that's why, you know, I really like that idea. And, you know, we're kind of doing it. You guys are probably doing it in one-offs when you're doing things like COM upholstery from a, you know, Century or Baker or C.R. Lane or whoever it might be. But there are other product categories that you should look at, and there are other ways to build that collection, which we'll talk about in a minute. Anything else, Jackie, to add?
You know, I think that this is what we would call your entry-level private labeling.
Yes.
It's, like Deb said, it's what you're doing already in your business. You do this on a daily basis. You're customizing products from your vendors. It's a matter of packaging and marketing and how you present them to the client that turns it into your own private label curated collection.
Right. So instead of walking into the client's house and saying, here's the fabric, and I want to put it on this frame, you can package your presentation so you're like, let's look at my collection I've pulled, you know, let's look at whatever, you know, XYZ collection, and this is what I'm thinking that we should put in the room. You know, so you're selling it as again, as your collection versus pulling this piece and that piece and putting it together. You know, it's just... Right.
And there is so much to all of these categories. We're just trying to give you a brief overview. This is a huge category. There's a lot of details on how to achieve these things. We can't possibly give it to you in 10 minutes. So,
but this is giving you the entree into figuring out what's going to be right for you.
Right.
So semi-custom private label.
So semi-custom.
One of my faves, Spoonflower.
Exactly. And Deb, you've been sort of on the forefront of cheering these companies on and finding them, you know, from the get-go. But this is pre-constructed or manufactured products that you can customize using tools provided by the manufacturer, or that can be personalized simply by adding your label or brand mark. The copyright, if there is one, is usually owned by the manufacturer. So Spoonflower Fabrics owns the original copyright to the design. So you can go into Spoonflower. We're using them just as an example. There's hundreds of companies like this now. And you can pick, like, let's say a chevron design, and you're going to custom color that and have it shipped to you. But it's still going to be Spoonflower fabric that you've customized. But your client doesn't know that, for one thing.
Right.
And it's print on demand, which is fantastic, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But this is sort of second tier product design.
Right. Right. And then you move into the truly custom private label products.
Right. And these are wholly designed by you or persons working on your behalf. You can either design and do the artwork yourself, as I do, or many people have a vision of what they want their line to be, and they may hire a graphic artist or a local artisan to create that artwork for them. But it's created under the mantle of your business. And you are choosing material selections, etc. It's 100% your original work, and you own the copyright. And the reason that I talk about copyrights is that there are legal issues that come up in this when you don't want to be claiming that somebody else's original work is yours. So, but the example here would be digitally printed fabrics.
Correct. Exactly.
So you are sending your artwork into a printer, and they're printing it for you.
Mm-hmm. So Jackie put together this great, this sort of like flow chart, if you will, between in stock, which is what we're traditionally used to as interior designers, and then on demand, which is where everything is really moving towards. So Jackie, you want to talk a bit about that?
Sure. You know, in a typical retail model or manufacturing model, you as a designer would have had to come up with the idea, and then you would either have it produced by a large-scale manufacturer or an artisan in your area. They would produce that product and then ship that product to you, and you would have to warehouse that product and stock it and pay for having stock and everything else. Then you would either sell it in your office or on the web. Deb's got the pointer, so. And then you would have to reach out, find clients to purchase, contact with them, collect their money for the sale, and then send them yourself the actual product. So you would have to ship it, package it, ship it, track those orders, etc. What has happened now over the past 5 or 6 years is the onset of on-demand product sales and fulfillment, or manufacturing sales and fulfillment. So we have some really awesome companies out there that are taking the reins and creating sort of what would be a turnkey service for you as a product designer, interior designer, whatever you are. So in this case, you have your bright idea, you create your product. You can go through the same source of having it manufactured, but you manufacture it through a company that is offering on-demand manufacturing fulfillment. And what this does is that there is no product stocking, there is no warehousing, there's no cash up front outlay for you. You then either make your sales on your website or in your office or your storefront. You collect your money from your client, and then you communicate that order straight back to the manufacturer. They produce the product, they ship the product directly to your consumer, and you never actually see the finished product. So it relieves you of all of that burden of the supply chain. Really, all you're doing is designing your product, housing it in a vehicle to be sold, communicating with the manufacturer, and then they fulfill to the client. So it's really a fantastic scenario for the small manufacturer, because to do it the other way around is incredibly costly. You end up with product that maybe doesn't sell well. You're stuck with that product, that investment in that product. And so we really are keying in on manufacturers that are offering on-demand turnkey services for you. Oops, forgot to turn off the phone.
It eliminates that stumbling block. That's the major stumbling block. Nobody wants to get into carrying inventories anymore.
No, and it's scary, and you don't have the money to outlay for it.
Right. And then you can also do self-constructed or self-produced product. That's, you know, if you're a workroom and you want to do a decorative pillow line, or you know local resources and you want to pull together, you know, self-produced products, you can certainly do that. And Jackie,
Yeah,
you've done some of that.
I have, and like the chair on the left is from Kendrick and Cole with a beautiful monogram on it. I mean, just having monogramming services available is considered a private label product. That's a service that you can offer. The pillows up on top are this really cute collection, and they're just appliqued. They cut out, old cabbage rose fabric and appliqued them on there. The bottom, I love this if you do a lot of, maybe some of us do party planning as well, or events and things like that, having signature table linens. You don't have to think huge here, okay? This doesn't need to be a full line of upholstery or case goods or whatever. Start off small with a niche product. That's the key. And grow from there.
And then outsourced production is, products that third-party manufacturer is doing. I love the fine art tapestries. They're doing some really wonderful things. It's basically fabric
and I
on
put
the
their
wall,
names on there. Yeah, and I put their CR Lane. These are the photographs where the photographs came from. So I'm just giving they don't do private labeling, so I don't want that to be confusing. But things like a line of headboards through a private label manufacturer. Wall art, incredibly easy to produce, and there are hundreds of on-demand companies. And then fabrics, pillows, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, some of our friends that we've know have done private label manufacturing that you might have seen their names and maybe not been aware that they're doing it is Cassandra, who's a very well-known design blogger. Coco Cozy has her own line of fabrics. And, you know who else just did that is All the Best, Rhonda.
Well, and Rhonda's is a different story, too. She's got a fascinating story on hers.
Right.
But that's,
Toby. Some of you know
Toby
Fairley and her line of things. Christian is doing rugs and a lot of different things.
Yeah.
He just posted today. I'm trying to make a decision on some hide rugs that he was putting in his private label collection. And Lauren. I'm not familiar with Lauren.
She took the domino world by storm. She's been featured in literally every magazine, and she is a blogger, lovely, lovely girl with either 3 or 4 beautiful little boys. I can't remember. I think 3. And she produces her own fabric. Coco Cozy, by the way, started out just doing yard goods. They are now producing rugs for, I can't remember which rug company, but they're doing signature lines now. So they have worked their private label lines into signature lines. They're also producing pillows for Tommy Hilfiger. And this is all in the course of probably 2 years of her being live with her line. It takes quite some time to get it going, but.
Well, the thing to note here is that it's an emerging market, and so it's small. And when you do jump in, and if you do it well, you're going to get noticed. You're going to get picked up, and things are going to move very quickly for you, which is a good thing if that's where you want to be. So to finally kind of tie everything together, we've put together some questions that you really kind of have to ask yourself before you jump in, and then kind of what the first steps are to this. So, off the bat, you've got to really kind of do a little bit of soul searching and pre-planning, like everything. Why do you want to produce these? What are your reasons?
And there can be, this doesn't necessarily have to be a vehicle to make you a product merchandising giant. It may be just to garner some attention and get your name out there and things like that. So there are lots of different goals that can be achieved through this.
Right. And then, do you have enough client base to warrant that product sale? That's a great question. If you're trying to just, to broaden your marketplace, is this the right time to do that?
And if you don't, how are you going to get that client base?
Right, exactly. Or who are you going to go to show this stuff to?
Right.
And then it's all about product category and product mix. So you've got to sell what you know. And I like Jackie's tip about start small. Find something that's like a really small, whether it is table linens or just monogramming service or whatever. That's a really great way to start.
Exactly.
Don't think you have to jump in as a whole line.
No.
You know, do you have the skills, or are you going to have to outsource some of this, and what's that going to cost you?
Right. And you skipped one. You know, how much of an investment in time and money are you going to commit? It does take time. The average time from coming up with a concept to your first sale is going to be 1 to 2 years. It's not a short process. It's very worthwhile, but it does take, you know, sticking power and staying power and determination for that.
And do you have that? Or do you want to deal with that?
Yeah. Can you commit? Did we miss a slide? No? Was that
No.
it? On the questionnaire? Okay. All right. And so then, what we've done, too, is I want to just go back to the other slide real quick, Deb.
Sure.
We will have these as PDFs for you on the website to download, and so that you can really, you know, delve into these questions for yourself. And they're sort of like in a checklist mode, and you can go through them point by point.
Right.
Okay, this is the private label products checklist. This is really what it takes kind of from start to finish to get a line out there so that you have sort of an overview of what you're going to need to do. The first is planning. You know, like we just said, you've got to choose the product that suits you, but not just you. It's got to suit your clients, your location, and your business model. Very important. You may love, you know, who knows what type of product, but if it's not right for who you're selling it to, it's not going to be successful. We're big components of research. You've got to research your market and your competition. Who else is selling what you're selling? Is anybody else in your area selling it? Who else is selling it online, etc.
And you know what? Social media and Google are your new best friends.
Absolutely. You cannot do this without social media. Well, I'm sure you could, but I haven't heard of those people. So
yeah, exactly.
And that's the key. Set your objectives and be realistic. Like Deb said, start small, you know, start baby steps for this thing. You're going to need a budget. I can tell you that launching my first fabric line, I came out of pocket approximately $2,000, and that was for everything. That is for my website and everything, but I did everything myself, and it still cost me, you know, an upfront investment. But you can't expect to get into a new business without some sort of financial investment. And then this is the most important thing, is this is a business. It's not a hobby. Write a business plan. There's plenty of research online that will show you exactly how to do that. And we should all have a business plan in any case, and that's something that we're going to be talking about in future Take 10s, but write a business plan for this. Designing. You've got to design your project. How much of that design process can you do on your own? Do you have the skill set? Do you know Photoshop? Do you know, your graphic design enough? Do you have to outsource that? We've got so many great sources now for getting help with that type of service. But you've got to figure that out and then budget accordingly.
Right.
You've got to.
And then the brand, that's another graphic, you know, component to it.
Absolutely. And that's you know, something that you may need professional help with as well.
I agree. I agree. And then something we always sometimes forget about. Okay, how am I going to package this? Am I going to have stickers or shipping labels, or, you know, how am I going to put a note in the package from the fulfillment center? You know, how is that all coming to me?
Right. And if you've ever bought anything on Etsy, they have really raised the bar as far as packaging and shipping materials. I've gotten some things that come with a personal note, and that's what this is all about, is personalization. And they have little stickers, and they put beautiful mailing stickers on the box. And it really becomes this sort of great shopping experience from the time you get the package to you open it up. And that's something, too, that you really need to, you know, put some real thought into it. And on the subject of Etsy, really quickly, Etsy has now opened up their storefronts for product that is designed but is being produced by second-tier manufacturers. So you used to have to actually make the stuff in your home or your office. So this opens up Etsy as a marketplace for you as a private label product seller to sell on Etsy, which is a big deal.
It's a very big deal. And then manufacturing, all the questions go into fulfillment and who should do it, what are the resources, and costs and all those kinds of things that you have to figure out before you even start bringing it to market.
And research what the manufacturing process is for your type of product that you want to make. You want to be educated before you go out and approach manufacturers. It's like, well, I want to make candles, or I want to make tableware, or whatever it is that you want to make. But if you don't understand their market, do the due diligence.
Yeah.
And what are your manufacturing costs?
Mm-hmm. That's a big one. And then, on the back side, it's the operations, who's going to sell it and fulfill it, and the marketing and sales, and all these good things. And this is in a checklist for you, right, Jackie?
Yeah, you'll get all of this.
That's awesome. So, if you do want to learn more about it, does this happen to be some of your tableware, by the way?
I know, and I apologize because this slide is full of my stuff, but it's the only private label stuff that I know. So this is actually a signature collection for Keller Charles, which is a great company that sells tableware.
But Jackie is going to be doing a 5-hour seminar for those of you that might be going into Atlanta market the day before on Monday the 7th from 1 to 6, and she's going to delve into this and really talk about the resources and who the fulfillment houses are, and actually going to walk away with your plan. Because we know that everybody has those ideas and we just never always act on it, and this is a great way to jumpstart it and to act on it.
Yeah, and we through this class and other classes and things that we'll be offering on this subject, we'll be really doing step-by-step intensive education on this that gives you names of manufacturers, names of support service personnel, contact information, real down and dirty nitty-gritty facts, so that when you leave the class, you are armed, with the tools to really get started. And then you also get, if you do take the class, you get 1 hour phone consultation with me to walk you through your stuff. And then we're also offering private coaching and product development services if you really sort of want somebody to kid glove walk you through the process. So.
Well, we thank all of you for attending. And if anybody have any questions before we go, I got to call up my question things here and see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to type them in, because this is a pretty broad subject.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot to cover in 10 minutes.
How do you find on-demand production companies? Liz wants to know. Good question.
The key is just research online. We debated on whether or not we wanted to give out sources in the Take 10, and there's just so many, and there's so much other information that goes along with it that we're going to reserve those for our classes.
Mm-hmm. Can you do a private label if you buy art from somebody else?
Well, that's a very good question. So if you are buying art, let's say you're going to go into the Paragon or whoever your art dealer is thing, and you're going to pick out several different pieces, I would call it a curated collection. That is where we get into the whole subject of copyright, which is something we cover in the class. There are different ways to package it. It's all about in your packaging and your marketing model. And it's also about communicating with your vendors directly and asking them, here's my idea, this is what I want to do. I want to put together a curated collection. I want to call it, the Betty Smith collection. Do you have an objection to this? Can I use your photographs in my catalog that I'm going to produce by myself, And a lot of them will tell you exactly how you can do that through them.
And this also holds true not only just artwork, if you're doing, buying somebody's original designs, but this also holds true with photography.
Exactly.
So because the photographer owns the rights. So if you're, again, you're wanting to take photography and turn it into digitally printed fabric, you need to make sure you know what's going on as far as the copywriting on that. One thing that we've done, Liz, or I've done, I should say, when it comes to kind of bypassing that copyright scenario is I've bought pieces of art or books or watercolors or whatever at flea markets or things where it's out of copyright. So that
yeah, but you've got to be very careful because some copyrights last longer. A copyright is 150 years after the person is dead.
Right.
So it's got to be pretty old. And then and then there are other scenarios. Yeah, there are other scenarios where that copyright folds over onto somebody else who's still living, and it gets really tricky. The best thing is to use original work, but you can also license images from people and put them onto product. That's a whole different category.
That's a good, right. So, Barbara, you've got a great question. So what if you used a classic design like a Greek key, which, by the way, if you've been watching our posts, you know Greek keys are like hot on the moment. So what she said, so what if you used a classic design like a Greek key, but used it in a different way, say woodworking? Is there something you should know about copywriting?
As long as you're producing the image yourself, and it's not and you're not an art forger reproducing the Mona Lisa. It's yours, and you can copyright it. So there are many classic motifs. As long as you're executing it in an original manner, then the copyright belongs to you.
Right, exactly.
And you don't have to worry about that.
And Ann has a personal question for you. So do you draw all your designs, Jackie, or are you using Photoshop?
I use a combination because I'm very old school, so I hand paint everything, hand draw everything. Then I put it into Photoshop and manipulate it because for fabrics it has to be in repeat. When I'm doing tableware, we break everything up. And I will tell you that I learned it all myself, Photoshop. I learned it through YouTube, which is a fantastic source if you want to learn anything because you can pinpoint in your search exactly the process that you're trying to figure out, and you don't have to learn a bunch of stuff that makes no sense to you. So I'm a self-taught Photoshop expert now.
And she is very good at it, I will tell you that. So a couple of last questions to put it all together. Yes, we're going to put this webinar up on our website like all the other Take 10s are, whether it's our live webinars or our email PDFs that we've been sending out to you. And so for those of you that are wanting to watch it later or to look at it, it'll be up on our site later today. And for those of you that can't attend Atlanta Market, we are going to be doing Jackie's webinar online later this fall in a series because we know that you guys can't all take 5 hours and sit down and do it. So we're going to break it up. So watch for emails coming into your inbox about when we'll be doing that. I think we were thinking maybe September, right, Jackie? Prior to High Point Market, in case somebody wanted to take all the knowledge that they've learned and go out into High Point and look for some fulfillment manufacturers and things. So thank you all for it. Go ahead. One
more point too. You know, we really would love to get some feedback on these Take 10. So if you have any feedback, please email us at info@softdesignlab.com. We'd love to hear about subjects you'd like to hear about and any comments that you have on the ones that we've done so far.
Right. And so 2 weeks from today will be our next Take 10 webinar on the 27th, just before the 4th of July holiday. And we're going to be talking a little bit about business and narrowing in on how to write a value proposition and start positioning yourself as a soft design. So no other questions? I think we're good. Everybody have a great weekend. Hopefully you have beautiful weather in your part of the country. See you later, Jackie.
Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.